Praise, honor, and glory go to Yahweh. Hashem Yahweh Shai. Peace and safety to the hopefully elect. All the sincere Akim out there. Pushing the Heavenly Father's word out of a pure heart and sincerity and in truth. And for everybody who don't know Yahweh, that's the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai. That's the name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And in this video, I'm going to go into the book of Revelations and show you what that's referring to. Show you it's prophecy and not history, man. All right? Such as those niggas with Bibles, the elder over there at GMS teach, man. And the rest of you zombies follow, okay? Show you through the precepts, man, exactly what Revelation 20 is referring to, because you, like I said, you have a private interpretation that Revelation 20 is referring to history, man. It's going into history during the time of the Constantine, the Holy Roman Empire. But I'm gonna show you that it's prophecy that haven't happened yet, man. So first scripture I want to get, of course, is Revelation 20 and verse 1. It says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit." All right, now I did a video showing you what that bottomless pit is referring to. I'm gonna give you another precept in the book of Luke to show you what the bottomless pit is referring to before we get into the breakdown. So in the book of Luke, chapter 8, verse 29, let's see. Show you what that bottomless pit is. This is the book of Luke, chapter 8 and verse 29. And this will explain Revelation 18 and 2 as well, to show you what those spirits and devils is referring to in Revelation 18 and 2. Show you that only spirits and devils, foul spirits and devils, dwell within people. So in Revelation 18 and 2, referring to Babylon is fallen, Babylon the great is fallen, and shall become the whole of every foul, spirit, and basically the home of devils. To show you that Babylon is referring to people, all right, and not a place, man. And this the scriptures that you use to prove that. Oh, this is Luke 8:29. Show you what the bottomless pit is. So it said, "For he had commanded the unclean spirit, to come out of the man." So that's what unclean spirits dwell within men, man. All right. So it says, "For oftentimes he had caught him, and he was kept bound with chains and feathers, and he brake the bands, and was driven out of the devil, Salakia, and the bands, and was driven of the devil into the wilderness. And Yahushua asked him, saying, What is thy name? And he said, Legion, because he had a legion of spirits, devils on him, foul spirits on him, man, because many devils were entered into him." All right, so that's well, foul spirits and devils dwell within you. So this is verse 31, which is the point. It says, "And they besought him that he would not command them," referring to those legions, them, "to go out into the deep. And when you look up that word deep in that particular verse, it's G112, and that's the same word describing the bottomless pit. Okay, so let me read verse 31 again. "And they besought him that he would not command them." All right, Yahweh shall command the foul spirits and the devils, meaning the wicked spirits, the demons, command them to go out into the deep. All right, go back into that bottomless pit. All right, and basically that's the point. But let me read down a little further. There was there and heard of many swine feeding on the mountain, and they besought him that he would suffer them to enter into them, and he suffered them. Then went the devils out of the man. Then went the devils out of the man into the swine and herd and ran violently down a steep place into the lake where they choked. Okay, so foul spirits and demons dwell within man. So let me get that Revelation 18:2 just to just to show you what that Babylon is referring to. All right, and I'm gonna get back to the breakdown of Revelation 20. So it says, Revelation 18:2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. And we just read, all right, according to the book of Luke, where those devils dwell, where their inhabitants. All right, a habitation is a home. All right, a dwelling place. All right. So it says the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit. When you look up that word hold, it's a guard, a watch, person's keeping, uh, a place of the place where captives are kept. A place where captives are kept. And that place is referring to men. So that's one way you can prove that Babylon is referring to a people and not a place, man. So let's see. When you go down to the Strong's definition, it says prison, a ward, uh, the condition, a cage, a hold. All right. So it says, and he cried with a loud, he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold, the prison, all right, a prison of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. All right, meaning detestable. All right, that's what those unclean and hateful birds is referring to. So I just wanted to read that to give you some edification on that, man. I'm gonna go back to the book of Revelation, chapter 20. So it says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit. All right, so the bottomless pit is not referring to Europe. All right, it's not Europe during the Dark Ages, such as these one West Hebrew Israelite clowns. All right, teach, man. I don't know where they get that madness from, but according to the scriptures and the precepts, the one with the key, that angel with the key, is referring to Yahweh Shai, and I'm gonna prove it to you with precepts. Stay in the book of Revelation 18, Salakia, Revelation 1:18, and show you who that angel is with the key. This is Revelation 1:18, and I am he, and this is in the red. I am he that liveth and was dead, referring to Yahweh Shai. All right, that's going into the resurrection. And behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and of death. So that's the one with the keys, man. It's not referring to Constantine, Kaiser Warham, all right, Septimius Severus, all right. None of that madness, man. So it's referring to Yahweh Shai. So I get another precept and prove it further. Stay in the book of Revelations, chapter 3 and verse 7. It says, and to the angel, and this is in the red. So this is Yahweh Shai speaking. It says, and to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write these things. Saith he that is holy, he that is true, he, referring to Yahweh Shai, of course. It says, he that have the key of David, he that openeth, and no man sheddeth, and no man openeth. All right, so that's the angel with the key, man. All right, and we know when you read Revelation 9, let's see. Revelation 9 speaks the same thing. It says, I'm going to start at the top. It says, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star. All right, so he's referred to as a star. All right, fall from heaven, that mighty angel, just like we read in Revelation 20. into the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. All right. Remember, you have the keys to death and hell. All right. That bottomless pit. What's in that bottomless pit? The judgment of Yahweh, man. All right. The judgment of the Lord, man. All right. Remember those angels coming out of the bottomless pit. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 20. Revelation chapter 20. And finish up verse 1. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven. That's that star. Um, having the key. All right, we read the precepts. Who had the key? Yahweh Shai himself, of the bottomless pit. Of the bottomless pit. And I read Luke 8 to show you that that bottomless pit is not referring to Europe, man. All right. The bottomless pit is the Lord's treasure, man. His war chest, man. That's his magazine, his clip. All right, his extendo clip, man. All right, with the judgment in it, man. Okay, the plagues. Okay, so it says bottomless pit, and with a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the dragon. And we all know the dragon symbolizes the nation of Edom, man. That's the dragon. All right, the dragon. Other words that's used to that's referred to the dragon in the book of Revelations is Babylon. All right, Babylon the Great, the dragon, the beast. Okay, the mighty city. The same way Israel is known as the holy city. All right. So let's see, verse 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. Okay, and I want to get a precept to show you this, not talk about Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, man. It's referring to man. Okay, let's see. Let's get it. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 9. Even him who's coming is after the workings of Satan. Is after the workings of Satan. And we know Satan means adversary, man. Okay? And Babylon, which Babylon means confusion. All right. And we know the Lord is not the author of confusion. All right. We know the Lord is not the author of confusion. So that Satan, that adversary, is referring to who? The nation of Edom, man. All right. The one who spread his confusion, witchcraft, and sorcery, all right, in the world, man. All right. The father of lies, who's spoke of in the book of John, chapter 8 and 44. All right. That murderer. So it says, even him who's coming is after the workings of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders. All right, that father of lies, man. All right, referring to Esau. All right, Babylon the Great. All right, so it says, and he took hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Bound him 1,000 years, referring to the nation of Edom. All right, now I want to read verse 3, and then I'm going to get some precepts and give you an example of what he's talking about, what the scripture is referring to when he bound Satan for 1,000 years. So it says, and cast him into the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit, we know that's not referring to Europe. All right. And I'm going to give you examples through the precept of what I'm reading right here in Revelation 20 and 3. And cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up. Set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he might be loosed for a little season. All right, that 1,000 years I'm gonna show you through the precepts is not symbolizing the literal 1,000 years. All right, we know the scriptures talk about that 1,260 days. All right, that's why it says after 1,000 years, meaning after 1,000 days. Okay, after 1,000 days, which symbolizes those 42 months, and that same times and a half time. All right, those 3.5 days, man. Okay, let me prove that though. I'm gonna go to the book of Revelation 11 and start at the top and give you an example of what I just read. The dragon being put into the bottomless pit. All right, for 1,000 years, man. Okay, so this is Revelations 11, and I'll start at the top, and I'm gonna read down to verse 7. It says, "And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of the power, and the altar, and them that worship therein." And the way you measure the temple is through what's written in the book, not through blind faith. All right. Remember your foundation. Your faith should line. Your faith should be based in what's written in the scriptures. All right. So that's how you get measured according to the scriptures, man, according to the Lord. So read knowing, but the court which is without the temple leave out and measure it not, for it is given to the Gentiles and the holy city. And we know the holy city is referring to the nation of Israel, the righteous of Israel. And I'm going to show you that as I read on. The same way, the holy city, Salakia, the mighty city, all right, is referring to people and not a place, referring to the Babylon. So it say the holy city shall they tread under, shall they tread under 40, tread underfoot 40 and 2 months. All right, that symbolizes that 1,203 score. When you do the math on that 42 months, that 40 and 2 months, it adds up to 1,203 score. Basically, a time times and a half times, meaning 3.5 days. Man. Okay, so let's read on and prove that further. And that's an example of uh, Satan, all right, being put in that bottomless pit, man. All right, these are the two olive trees, Salakia, and I will give power, verse 3, and I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 score days, clothed in sackcloth. All right, and this is pertaining to what I read in Revelation 20. How they're gonna be able to do this because that devil, all right, Satan, all right, symbolizes the nation Edom going to be bound for 1,000 years. All right, meaning 1,203 score days, man. Those 40 and 2 months. Okay, these are these are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the power of the earth, referring to the elect. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devour their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must be killed in this manner. These have power to shut the heavens. During that time period that Satan is bound, all right, is bound for those 1,000 years, which symbolizes those 40 and 2 months, that 1,203 score days. All right. So it says, these have power to shut the heaven that it rain not in the days, that 1,203 score days uh, of their prophecy, and have power over the waters to turn them into blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And when they have finished their testimony, the beast, all right, the beast that we read about in Revelation 20, that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit, all right, after they finish their testimony, after those 40 and 2 months, after that times and a half times, after those 3 days and a half, okay, meaning 3 years. When you add up 42 months, it add up to 3 years, 3 years and a half, man, and 6 months. When you add up the 1,203 score, which is 1,260, it adds up to 3 years and a half. All right. When you add up the times, all right, plural, times and a half times, that's symbolizing the 3.5 years. Those 3.5 days symbolizes the same thing as well. So it reads, and when they the elect, all right, have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. So now let me go back to Revelation 20 and read that without any private interpretation. Revelation 20, and I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And I just read about what's going to happen while Satan is bound. We know Satan is referring to him that comes after the working of Satan, which is the nation of Edom, aka Babylon the Great, man. All right. That's why it says after, and bound him for 1,000 years. 1,000 years, which symbolizes that 1,260, and cast him into the bottomless pit. And that's why the elect was able to do all these things, man. All right. The power was given to the elect for this time period. All right. Which is prophecy and not history, man. All right. This haven't come to pass yet, man. Remember when you read Revelation 1 and 1, it's the revealing of Yahweh Shai. All right. All this going to happen when Yahweh Shai is revealed, man. Okay. This is not referring to the Holy Roman Empire. This is not referring to Constantine, Kaiser Warham. The mighty angel with the chain is referring to Yahweh Shai himself. All right. So it says, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loose for a little while. Okay. So now let's go back to the book of Revelations 11 and show you what's going to happen when he's loose. Okay. It's precept upon precept, man. So this is what's going to happen when they're loose. Remember, I ended at verse 7, and I'm going to pick up at verse 8. And their dead bodies, right? Remember, well, let's start at verse 7 again so you can get the full context. And when they shall finish their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. This is after the 1,260 days, man. All right. This is an example of the beast being let out of the bottomless pit. All right. So verse 8, it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of that great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where our Lord was crucified. We know our Lord was crucified in Israel, man. All right. Not in America, man. Okay. So this is not referring to America. Okay. And they of the people of the kindreds. Well, I'm going to just jump down to verse 12. Verse 12, it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto him, come up hither. And they ascended into a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour there was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake, not ICBM missiles, nuclear missiles, man, an earthquake, man. All right. This is what's coming out of that bottomless pit, man. All right. In Revelation 9, this is what the Lord have in his treasures, man. Okay. Earthquakes, not ICBM missiles, man. Well, it says, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were frightened and gave glory to the power of heaven. Verse 14, which is the main point. The second woe, not World War II, is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So now let me go back to the book of Revelation chapter 20, and let me see where I'm going to pick up at. I'll start at verse 4. So it says, and I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, and for the word of the power, which had not worshipped the beast, referring to what those two olive trees the two witnesses, man, the elect, man. All right, the same ones who he gave power to, man. All right, when he put the dragon in the bottomless pit. All right. So it says, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they live and reign with Yahweh 1,000 years. And I read in Revelation 11, all right, chapter 11, verse 1 through 7, the example of the elect, okay, reigning with Yahweh 1,000 years, 1,203 score days. And remember, after the 3 days and a half, that's when Satan is going to be loose. All right, that's when he's going to allow them to come and do what he did from verse 8 on down. All right, until what? We're going to read. Let's read on and see. Let's see where we at. Let's read verse 5 and 6. It says, but the rest of the dead live not. The rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. All right, to after those 42 months, that 1,203 score days. That's why it says after the 1,000 years. All right, after the 1,000 years. All right. So it says, live not again till the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. All right, that's the first resurrection, man. All right, when you go back to the book of Luke, chapter 17, that's the first resurrection, man. Okay, I'm gonna show you the second death, man. Let's read on. Blessed and holy is he that have part in the first. And we know who the blessed is, man. It's only referring to the elect, man. Okay, let me show you who that's referring to. Let me finish reading the verse. Blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and Yahweh Shai, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. 1,000 years. Okay, let me get the precept so I can show you what that's referring to. Because Israel kind of slow. So let's read Revelation 11. All right, and I'll start at verse 2. It says, but the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under 40 and 2 months. That's symbolizing that 1,203 score. That's symbolizing 3.5 days. That symbolizes that times, all right, plural, and a half time. Okay, so it says, and I will give power to my two witnesses. That's who it's referring to. Okay, and they shall prophesy 1,203 score days, clothed in sackcloth. All right, clothed in sackcloth. Now let's jump down. And when they, verse 7, and when they shall finish their testimony, the same beast we reading about in Revelation 20, okay, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, overcome and shall overcome them and kill them. Okay, so now let's go back to Revelation 20. Revelation 20 and verse 6. Blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Yahweh Shai, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Those the same ones that the Lord gave power to. All right, for that 1,203 score days. That's why it says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, after the 3.5 days, after the 42 months, okay, and when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison. all right, out of the bottomless pit. Okay? Uh, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog. And when you look up the word Gog, uh, it says a symbolic name for some future antichrist. All right, these antichrist governments, man, the kings of the earth. Okay, that's what it's referring to. It's not referring to Russia, man. When you read the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, it tells you who Gog and Magog is. All right, it's a league of government nations that going to come together to fight against the Lord and His people, man. All right, and what I just read about in Revelation 11 about the elect having that spiritual power, okay, that's them taking part in that first resurrection. That's the ones who the Lord gave power to, man. Okay, it's two olive trees. All right, he refers to them as the two witnesses. All right, basically that they the holy city. That's the elect. I'm gonna prove that to you too. Let me prove that now. Go back to Revelations 11 and verse 12 again. And they heard a great voice the same day when you read up in the chapter who the Lord gave power to. All right, for a period of time. All right. So it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up, and they ascended to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the tenth part of the city fell. And the tenth part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven, The second woe is past. All right, not the Second World War. All right, like I said, this is not history. This is future prophecy. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, that's second death, man. Let's prove it. Let's prove it. Go back to Revelation 20, and I'm gonna pick up at verse 8. And it says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog. All right, we read what Gog was. All right, it's not referring to the Russians. Okay, that's a private interpretation of the scriptures. Let's look up that Magog. It says overtopping, covering, figurative, a anti-Christian party. A anti-Christian party. So basically that band that spoke of in Ezekiel. Let's get it right quick. Prove that. Go to the book of Ezekiel to show you that anti-Christian party, Gog and Magog. All right. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 38. I'm going to start at the top. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Machif, the chief priest of Machif, and to Baal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief priest of Machif, and to Baal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaw, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy armies, that anti-Christian party, all thy armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a party, anti-Christian party, with bucklers, shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer and all his bands, symbolizing a party. the house of Tegamar of the north quarters and all his bands, all right, a party, an anti-Christian party, uh, and many people with thee, and many people with thee. So that's what God is referring to. It says, "Be thou prepared and prepare thyself for thy and all thy companies, and all thy company." All right, that's why it's referred to as an anti-Christian party, because these are all the nations that's going to come together along with the so-called white man to fight against the Lord and his elect. All right. So it says that all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a God unto them. All right. Let's read on. It says, "After many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. Thou shalt come into the land that is bought back from the sword." Because all this is going to take place in Israel, man. All right. Remember, Armageddon is a place and not an event. Armageddon is in the land of Israel, north of Manasseh, man. Okay, north of Manasseh in the land of Israel, and that's where all this is going to take place at, man. All right. This is not referring to. Uh, this is not history, such as them clowns teach. All right, or the theologians teach. All right, what they teach these guys in seminary school. All right, this is referring to future prophecy, man. All right, this is not referring to the Russians. Okay, this is not referring to Europe. Okay, because according to these guys, the bottomless pit is Europe during the Dark Ages, man. Ask them guys to show you the precepts on that, man. Okay, remember, precept must be upon precept, man. All right, and that's the proof that you guys not studying. All right, remember the Lord commanded us to study to show ourselves approved, to be that workman. Remember what that work is, man. All right, that work is referring to you studying, investigating, searching out the matter, man. All right, laboring. All right, for the meat, meaning these breakdowns, the knowledge, the wisdom, the mysteries of the scriptures that perishes not, that leads to what? Eternal life, man. So this is part of the work right here, man. This is the work, what the Lord was referring to, man. This is what make you a workman. All right, this is how you divide the truth, rightfully, man. Rightfully divide the word of truth by working and laboring in the word, not on YouTube listening or reading articles or listening to these wicked ass shepherds, man. Labor in this word. It says, "After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is bought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, not just out of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste, but it is brought back, it is brought forth out of the nations. All right, it's more than just the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Remember, the elect is scattered throughout the four corners. All right, so the Lord gonna bring the elect back during that first resurrection from amongst all nations, man, all nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. We gonna dwell safely when that beast is gonna ascend into that bottomless pit, man. When the Lord lock him up and put a seal on him for what? 1,203 days, for a times and a half time, for the 42 months. All right, and that's plain, man. And I'm gonna prove it to you. After we dwell safely and the Lord released the seals, and after them 1,000 years, that symbolizes that 1,203 score. It says, "Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm," referring to the beast, Gog and Magog. "Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands, Gog and Magog, and many people with thee," that anti-Christian party. "Thus saith the Lord power, it also shall come to pass at that time, shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought." Now let's go back to the book of Revelations, chapter 20, and break it down for you. So this is Revelation 20 and 8. "And shall go out to deceive the nations, once they ascend like a storm, which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So that's your anti-Christian parties, Gog and Magog, the bands, the companies, all right, that we read about in Ezekiel 38. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints. Right, the saints gonna be living, dwelling safely, like I read in Ezekiel 38, man. Okay, for that 1,203 score days. But remember, after the 1,000 years, after the 1,000 days, after the 3 years and a half, all right, this is what's gonna happen. And the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, and fire came down from heaven, from the power out of heaven, and devoured them. All right, this is that second death, man. Okay, and devoured them. Let's see. Let me give you the example of the fire coming from heaven and devouring them. I'm going to go back to Ezekiel 38. Precept upon precept, man. All right? Stick to the script, man. We just actors in the Lord movie, man. He's the director. He gave nobody authority to add and take away. Better yet, he commanded you not to do that. All right? Let me give you an example of what I just read in Revelation 20. It says, this is Ezekiel 38 and 22. And I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and I will rain upon him and upon the bands that hold Gog and Magog, the anti-Christian party, and upon many people that are with him, an overflowing rain and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. Fire and brimstone. So that's an example of what I'm reading in Revelation 20, man. Let's read it again. Revelation 20 and Revelation 20 and 9. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camps of the saints about, and the beloved city, and fire came down from the power out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them, the devil that deceived the nations to fight against the Heavenly Father and to go up against his people, the devil that deceived them were cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And to prove that that's referring to Esau, show you what that torment is. When you look up the word torment, it says, let's see, to vex with grievous pain, to torment, to be harassed, distressed, all right, pain. All right, well, let's prove it with a precept. Let's go to the book of Malachi and show you what that torment forever and ever is referring to. So this is Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. It says, whereas Edom, the beast, all right, the devil that deceived the nations to come up against the Heavenly Father and his people, all right, the Edom, that's the beast, man. That's him that comes after the workings of Satan, man. That's the devil in John 8:44, man. Edom. So it says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they, referring to people, man. All right? That's what Babylon is referring to, people. But I will throw down, and they shall call them, referring to people, the borders of wickedness. So wherever they're at on the earth, remember the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So the border of wickedness will be the whole earth, man. Wherever the so-called white man may dwell, all right, that's what it's referring to, man. All right? It's not just referring to the Edomites in America, man. It's referring to the Edomites all over the earth. So it says the people against whom the Lord have indignation, And that indignation is basically referring to anger, man. It says to show indignation, to show anger. So he's going to be angry with the Edomites forever. That's what that torment is. All right. It says enraged. All right. It says to foam at the mouth, to be angry, to defy. Okay, to abhor. Okay, forever, man. So when you go back to that Revelation 20, when you go back to that Revelation 20 and read verse 10, it says, and the devil, Edom, that deceived them, that deceived them, was cast into the lake of fire. And that lake is basically a metaphor for people that's going to be judged, man. All right? That's what that lake is referring to. And the fire is the judgment, man. Okay? What's coming out that bottomless pit. All right? What the Lord have in his treasure. All right? So it says, and brimstone, the lake of fire, and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented. That's that indignation, day and night, forever and ever. Forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from who faced the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. There was found no place for them. Let me show you what that's referring to. Revelation 12. Meaning they're going to be taken out of their position of power, man. So it says, this is Revelation 12 and 9, and the great dragon, Edom, was cast out. That was cast out. That old serpent called the devil and Satan, we know it's him that comes after the workings of Satan, which deceived the whole world, that deceived the whole world. And to all you people that's averse against what the scriptures is saying, you're part of the world that have been deceived, okay? It says he was cast into the earth, and his angels was cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation for the elect, the two witnesses, all right, in their houses, of course, all right, meaning they're gonna get that dominion, man, okay, that dominion that the Lord promised to reward them that follow him whatsoever he goeth. So it says, and strength and the kingdom of our power, and the power. Let's see. That's basically it. Okay, I want to read verse 8. That's what I really want to get. It says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found in heaven anymore. Meaning they're going to be taken out of their position of power, man. All right? When all this take place, man. Okay? That's what it's referring to, man. This is not referring to history, man. This haven't came to pass yet. All right? This is prophecy, man. Okay, remember the testimony of Yahweh Shah is the spirit of prophecy. And if you're in the old covenant, then you don't have the testimony of Yahweh Shah. And that's why you guys are labeled false prophets. All right? False prophets. All right, because everything that these guys prophesy about don't come to pass. Look at Elder Tar in his year 2000 prophecy. It didn't come to pass, man. All right, that make you a false prophet. Okay? That make you a false prophet. So going back to Revelations chapter 20 and 8, it says, and they went up, this 20 and 9, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about the beloved city. And fire came down from the power out of heaven and devoured them, and the devil that deceived them were cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heavens fled away, and there was found no more place for them. No more place for them, man. They're going to be taking out their position of power, man. All right, and that's what Revelation 20 referring to, man. It's not referring to It's not history, man. All right. Basically, man, that's the point. Um, Let me get one last scripture. Get one last. Stay in the book of Revelations, chapter 22, and verse 18. For I testify to every man. This is the Lord speaking to all men. Those who got the Bible in their hand, claim to be men of the Lord, teachers of the Lord, apostles of the Lord. Uh, this is for you that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. The prophecy of this book, man. Not what's coming out of an old nigga belly, not blind faith. All right, that's based on what a man say. All right, but like I said, based on what's written in the book. If any man, if any man shall add unto these things, if you say something that's history, that's prophecy, all right? If you making the Lord word, all right, with garbage and lies, all right, diluting the truth, man, this is for you. If any man shall add unto these things, the power shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. That's written in this book. Verse 19, if any man shall take away from the words of the book, of this prophecy, the power shall take away his part out of the book of life. You're not going to be part of that elect, man. All right? But when you look up that word part, it goes back to your position, man. Okay? Any particular in regard to this, let's see, your part, your piece, your portion. All right? Your portion. All right? That's what it's referring to. So it says it's going to take your portion out of the book of life and out of the holy city. To prove that's referring to the elect, we know who the holy city is. All right, let's get it. I want to get that anyway. Revelation 21 and verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down. Remember, they ascended in Revelation 11 and 12. So this is Revelation 21 and 1. It says, and I, John, saw the holy city, the elect, New Jerusalem, not all Israel, man, coming down from the power out of heaven, prepared as a bride. We know who the Lord bride is, the elect, the 144, adorned for her husband. All right. So going back to Revelation 22:19, and if any man shall